My grandma's cottage sat quietly at the edge of our small town, nestled between towering pines and wildflower fields. It was her sanctuary, a place filled with memories, laughter, and stories that stretched back generations. But when the new HOA board moved in, everything changed. They were the kind of people who believed their rules trumped all, no matter who you were. Little did they know my grandma was no ordinary resident. She was the state prosecutor, and they were about to find out the hard way. The spike wall that stripped the cottage. It started with a ridiculous new safety rule from the HOA. No structures or fences over 3 feet tall within 50 feet of the main road. Grandma's charming wooden picket fence, which she'd lovingly built 40 years ago, was declared a violation. When she refused to remove it, the HOA took matters into their own hands. One night, without warning or permission, they showed up with a crew and installed a massive spike wall directly around her property line. The wall was ugly, rusty, and dangerous, with metal spikes pointed outward, stripping away the welcoming feel of her beloved cottage and effectively cutting her off from the neighborhood. Grandma's quiet strength. The HOA sent a letter threatening fines and legal action if she didn't remove the dangerous spikes immediately. Grandma wasn't intimidated. She simply smiled and said, "You've made a big mistake." For you see, Grandma didn't just fight with words, she knew the law inside out. She contacted her office first thing the next morning, letting her colleagues know what was happening. The moment the HOA realized who she was, they suddenly became a lot less cocky. But the spike wall stayed up, a daily insult to her dignity and legacy. The board's blind ignorance. The HOA president, Karen, was notorious for ignoring warnings when it suited her. She told the board that Grandma was just an old lady who didn't understand the rules. But they didn't know that Grandma had prosecuted some of the town's most notorious criminals, and she wasn't about to let a bunch of backyard tyrants intimidate her. One day, Karen stormed over to Grandma's house to demand she take down the fence and have the spikes removed at once. Grandma stood calmly on her porch, arms crossed, and said, "You'll have to come through me first." That's when Karen's phone buzzed. The phone call that changed everything. Grandma's assistant called right in the middle of the confrontation, informing her that the HOA's violations against Grandma's property had been thoroughly reviewed by the state prosecutor's office. The spike wall was an illegal barricade, and the HOA had no right to install it without permission or safety inspections. Karen's face drained of color as she realized they were being investigated for illegal property damage, intimidation, and harassment. Legal firestorm and justice served. Grandma didn't just demand the spikes be removed. She launched a formal complaint and coordinated with local law enforcement and the state attorney's office to hold the HOA accountable. Under legal pressure, the HOA was forced to dismantle the spike wall within 48 hours. Not only that, but the board was hit with hefty fines and ordered to pay for the damage and emotional distress caused to my grandmother. Karen and her cronies faced a public scandal that shook the community. The HOA's board was voted out in a special meeting, replaced by members who respected the law and the people they served. Grandma's victory and legacy. The day the spikes came down was like a small victory parade. Neighbors came by to apologize and help repair the fence, restoring Grandma's cottage to its original warm and welcoming state. My grandma, always humble, just said, "This isn't about me. It's about standing up when something's wrong." And standing up she did, proving that even when bullies come knocking, justice has a way of finding them.